All right, so we're diving into something massive this time. The Wheel of Time.
Oh, yeah, this is a big one.
14 main books, a prequel, all that supplementary stuff. Over 4.4 million words. It can be pretty daunting,
It
right?
really can, yeah. I mean, where do you even start?
That's why you asked us to unpack it. What makes this series so captivating? And what are those deeper takeaways that go beyond the surface level good versus evil kind of thing?
Right, beyond just the plot.
Exactly. So we've gone through it all. The plot, the characters, the world, the magic system, all the big themes. We're giving you the shortcut, basically.
Sounds like you've done your homework.
Well, someone has to. So the story kicks off in a pretty classic fantasy setting.
Yeah.
You've got this peaceful village, Emmons Field. It's kind of existing.
Right, like you see in a lot of fantasy stories.
Totally. And then, boom, it gets attacked by Trollocs, those monstrous bad guys.
Yeah, definitely sets the stage for danger.
Totally. And this attack brings in Moiraine Damodred, who's a powerful Aes Sedai. And just a quick reminder, the Aes Sedai are these women who can channel the one power, which is basically the magic of this world.
Right, a very important group in this world.
Absolutely. So Moiraine's on a quest. She's looking for the Dragon Reborn, this prophesied figure who's basically going to either save the world or destroy it.
High stakes, huh?
Huge stakes. And she believes that one of the young villagers from Emening's Field is the Dragon Reborn.
So you've got Rand, Matt, Perrin, and Egwene all caught up in this.
Exactly. They're forced to flee their homes, and from there, their destinies just kind of unfold really quickly. Like Matt, he finds this cursed dagger in Shadar Logoth, which, leads him down a really specific path.
Yeah, and then Perrin, he discovers that he's a wolf brother, so he has this deep connection with wolves.
Right, right. And it's interesting because Jordan takes these familiar fantasy tropes, like the village being attacked and the call to adventure, but he throws in these world-altering prophecies right away, and these powerful figures like the Aes Sedai, and you just know it's going to be epic.
Yeah, like you said, the scope is massive right from the start. You know you're in for something big.
Absolutely. So the central plot revolves around Rand and his realization that, oh yeah, he is the Dragon Reborn. We see him do things like claim this super powerful sword, Kalendor.
Oh, yeah, it's a big moment.
Totally. But he struggles with this huge destiny, right? I mean, who
Yeah.
wouldn't?
Well, imagine knowing you're supposed to save the world. Talk about pressure.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And then there's this whole quest to find the Horn of Valere, which can summon heroes from the past to fight in the last battle.
Oh, yeah, the horn. That's an important one.
So important. And Rand goes on this big journey to the Ale Waste, which is this harsh desert land, and he learns about his heritage and his connection to the Ale people.
Right, and the Ale are these fierce warrior people, so that says a lot about Rand.
It really does. And while all this is happening, the Forsaken, who are basically the Dark One's top lieutenants, they start to emerge and cause all sorts of chaos. And then you've got the Aes Sedai. They split into factions, which is a whole other layer of conflict.
So much going on, it's hard to keep track.
I know. And then they eventually reunite, which is a big deal. And then the Black Tower is established, which is basically a training ground for men who can channel.
Right, because for a long time, men who could channel were considered dangerous because of the taint on Seddon.
Exactly. So the Black Tower was this way to try to control that and train them. And if that's not enough, you've got this whole other empire, the Shan-Chan. They invade from across the sea.
The Shan-Chan are a force to be reckoned with, that's for sure.
They definitely are. And one of the pivotal moments in the series is when Seddon, the male half of the One Power, is cleansed from the Dark One's taint.
Huge turning point for the story and for the male channelers.
Absolutely. And Rand goes through this incredible internal transformation, culminating in this big realization on Dragon Mount, this super important mountain.
It's like his whole journey leads up to that point.
Right. And it all leads to the last battle, Tarmon Gaidon, where Rand faces off against the Dark One. And somehow he manages to imprison the Dark One again.
It's an epic confrontation for sure.
And if you want to learn more about Moiraine and Sion Sanche, another Aes Sedai, and how they began their search for the Dragon Reborn, you have to check out the prequel, New Spring.
It adds a whole other layer to their characters and motivations.
For sure. Now let's talk about some of the individual characters, because their journeys are so compelling. Like Rand, he starts out terrified of his power because, men who channel go mad.
Yeah, that taint really messed things up for them.
Totally. So he resists his destiny for a long time, but eventually he accepts his role as the Dragon Reborn. He becomes really hardened and almost ruthless in his quest to defeat the Dark One.
He goes to some pretty dark places, doesn't he?
He does. But eventually he finds a measure of peace and hope. Then you've got Egwene, who's so ambitious and driven. She rises within the ranks of the Aes Sedai really quickly, and she even leads a rebellion against the Aes Sedai leadership,
Wow, talk about leadership skills.
right? And then she helps to reunite the Aes Sedai, and in the end, she makes the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, she's a true hero.
Totally. And then there's Matt. He starts out kind of as a rogue, a gambler, a bit of a troublemaker.
I remember him being kind of a funny character at the beginning.
Oh, yeah, he's got a great sense of humor. But after his encounters with these beings called the Aelfin and Eelfin, which is a whole other story,
Yeah, that's a wild ride.
it really is. But he becomes this brilliant military commander. I mean, he ends up leading the Band of the Red Hand, which is this legendary group of warriors, and he even marries Tuon, the Shan heir.
Talk about an unexpected turn of events.
Right. And then Perrin, he grapples with his wolf brother nature throughout the series. He struggles to control his connection to wolves, but he becomes this powerful protector, fiercely loyal to his friends and family.
Yeah, he's the strong, silent type.
Definitely. And Nynaeve, who starts out as the wisdom of Emond's Field, she becomes an incredibly powerful Aes Sedai. And she finds love with Lon, this stoic warrior who's bound to the royal family of Malkier.
Their relationship is definitely one of the highlights of the series.
It really is. And what's so cool about all these characters is how much they change and grow over the course of the story.
Mm.
It's not just about good versus evil. It's about how these characters deal with these incredible challenges and how they transform as a result.
Their transformations are so believable and relatable. It's like they're real people.
Exactly. And the series tackles some really deep themes. You've got this constant blurring of the lines between good and evil. It's never clear-cut.
It's like real life, right? It's rarely black and white.
Absolutely. And there's this constant tension between fate and free will. You've got prophecies, you've got these Ta'veren like Rand, Matt, and Perrin who influence the pattern of events around them.
So it makes you wonder, how much control do they really have over their lives?
Right. And yet, the characters still make choices. They still struggle. They still love and lose. And the cyclical nature of time, the idea of the wheel of time turning and the ages repeating, it's central to the whole series.
It gives you the sense of history and inevitability, but also the possibility of breaking free from those cycles.
Yeah, it's a really interesting concept. And then you've got duty and responsibility as major themes. These characters, especially Rand, they carry so much weight on their shoulders.
Talk about a burden. Saving the world is no easy task.
Not at all. And then balance is so important, particularly between Seddon and Seddar, the male and female halves of the one power.
Right, because when those are out of balance, bad things happen.
Exactly. And Jordan also explores themes of leadership, cultural clashes between these different societies, the complexities of relationships between men and women, and the importance of love and hope, even in the darkest of times.
There's a lot to unpack there. It's like he's commenting on all aspects of the human experience.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the magic system, the one power, it's fascinating. It comes from the true source, and it's split into Seddon and Seddar for men and women.
That duality is really important to the whole world, isn't it?
It is. And channelers can weave these powers using the 5 elements: air, water, earth, fire, and spirit. But Seddon, the male half, was tainted by the Dark One ages ago.
Which is why men who channel go mad. It's a huge part of the conflict.
Absolutely. And there are talents, which are these inborn abilities for specific weaves of the one power, like healing and traveling. And the Zadai and the Black Tower, they're these organizations dedicated to controlling and teaching people how to use the one power.
It's almost like a form of technology, isn't it?
That's a great point. In the Age of Legends, the one power was basically their advanced technology. They could do incredible things with it. And so that duality, the taint on Seddon, it really shapes the history and the social structure of the whole world.
It affects everything from gender roles to politics to warfare.
Everything. Now, the world building in this series, it's insane. It's so intricate and detailed. You've got all these distinct nations like Andor, which is kind of like England. You've got Carrion with influences from France, Japan, China, Terry, which is like Spain and East Asia, Ilion, reminiscent of Greece and the Netherlands, and the borderlands, which are kind of like Japan and Eastern Europe.
It's like a fantasy version of our own world, but with all these unique twists.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then you've got these other cultures like the Ale, who are fierce desert warriors, kind of like a mix of Zulu, Apache, and Bedouin traditions.
They're a fascinating culture for sure.
They are. And the Shanshan, who have a very rigid social hierarchy, and they're influenced by Imperial China and Japan.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Sea Folk, who are all about trade and sailing.
They're kind of like India and Australasia, right?
Exactly. And the Tuathan, who are nomadic and pacifistic. similar to Irish travelers and Romani people. And Jordan, he didn't just make this stuff up. He really researched these real-world cultures, and then he blended those influences in a really unique way. And he created this incredibly detailed geography with mountains, deserts, forests, all of it.
And that history, too. The age of legends and the breaking of the world, it's all so well thought out.
It really is. And the prophecies and the social structures and the different forms of government, it all adds up to a world that feels so real and immersive. It's easy to get lost in it.
You really feel like you're there.
So basically, diving into the Wheel of Time, you find this massive world with complex characters who are facing their destinies and making their own choices, all within this cyclical history.
It's a story about struggle, but also about hope and resilience.
Exactly. And the unique magic system and those meticulously crafted cultures just add so much depth to it all.
It's a masterpiece of fantasy literature, that's for sure.
So here's something to think about. With this whole cyclical view of time, how much do the individual struggles and triumphs of these characters really matter in the grand scheme of the wheel? Are they just repeating patterns, or is there room for real, lasting change?
That's a great question to ponder. It makes you think about the nature of free will and destiny.
It really does.